Steps away, McCarthy floating it for Jefferson downfield, and it's intercepted.
I call him 9. 9 comes out.
When JJ McCarthy was drafted with the 10th overall pick in 2024, the Vikings expected him to develop into a star quarterback. Now, 2 years later, injuries and inconsistent play may have jeopardized his future not only with the team but in the NFL. The kid is only 23 years old. Is it time for Minnesota to move on from JJ, or do they have the luxury of being patient on a team that is looking to win now? We're diving deep into the NFL Cave of Wonders for this one, and I'm your host, Trenton Hill, and you just might be watching Hill Time Sports. Let's go!
Cave of Wonders!
JJ McCarthy was a 5-star recruit out of high school, and in 2023 led the Michigan Wolverines to a national championship, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not the numbers a Joe Burrow might have had, but he was still slated to be at least a top 10 pick. A quarterback-heavy class that featured Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Caleb Williams, amongst others. In his lone preseason game in 2024, he shook off an early interception, threw for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now that's pretty good progress from a rookie, but the party would last just one game as he would tear his meniscus and miss the whole 2024 season. This would open the door for one, Sam Darnold looking to resurrect his career, and he didn't just keep the team afloat. He finished with a 14-3 record, over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, including a 97-yard pass to Justin Jefferson in a Week 2 matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Now they were looking to compete, maybe get to the Super Bowl with that 14-3 record, but things just didn't go to plan because Darnold started to play like he was in New York again. And they let him be shipped off for $100 million from the Seattle Seahawks, and the rest is history. They did think that Daniel Jones was going to re-sign with the team, but instead he went to Indianapolis to see what he had. He had a pretty decent season in 2025 before tearing his Achilles, which meant the Minnesota Vikings were looking to see what they had in the young quarterback JJ McCarthy, and early on he shook off a pick 6 against the Chicago Bears, who won the NFC North in 2025 and scored 3 touchdowns to beat the Bears 27-24. There were times though that he looked shaky, looked timid, especially in that first game and throughout the season. Not only that, but injuries would call into question whether JJ can stay on the field or not. He had a concussion, a high ankle sprain that led to him missing a lot of games, 7 to be exact. And the Vikings defense actually held their own and won with a quarterback like Max Brosmer on their team, forcing the Lions to have 5 turnovers in a game. This was a team that, if they had the right quarterback, probably would have been in the playoffs. Instead, they finished with a 9-8 record, and yes, JJ finished with 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in the remaining games he did play, but he finished the whole season 35th overall in accuracy, 11 interceptions to 10 touchdowns, and 57% complete, and a 57% completion percentage. And this was a receiver like Justin Jefferson. He was missing him over and over, just couldn't get any chemistry with the guy. And this is one of the best receivers in the league, if not the best. And now you sign Kyler Murray to the veteran minimum for 1 year. And this reminds me of the 2019 NFL draft when another top 10 pick got usurped by one Kyler Murray. Josh Rosen had similar numbers, 11 touchdowns to 14 picks in that first year and only year as the starter for the Cardinals, and a 55% completion percentage. Now, flashes did show that JJ is a little bit better than Rosen. I think that if you give him more time, he will develop into a better quarterback, but do you really have the time to develop a young quarterback when your roster is as good as the Minnesota Vikings roster to some people? Obviously, an argument for and against keeping JJ McCarthy. The argument against is that this team is in win now mode. 14-3 a couple of years ago. Could have gone to the Super Bowl if they played a little bit better in the playoffs. And then you have just a quarterback who's timid, who's injury prone, and gives himself alter egos like he's Russell Wilson. And yes, we all remember the 9 jokes. I called him Dr. JJ and Mr. 9 the whole season. But the other side of it is he's on a rookie contract. He's not making a lot of money. He's not making like, what was it, like $40 million that Jamarcus Russell made, or however much he made. You have Kyler Murray on the veteran minimum. You can afford another year to let JJ either develop or take over when Kyler starts to falter or gets injured. I think that's what's going to happen this season. I say like 2 more seasons for JJ. This was obviously his rookie season. We see what we have. But the other part of it is a guy like Cam Ward was already starting to show flashes in his last 8 games. 8 touchdowns to 1 interception. And that's what Stonehands, Ridley, and a running game that was non-existent except for the latter part of the season. But what do you guys think? I know it usually takes time for quarterbacks to develop, like Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions. Steve Young had to retool in San Francisco. But let me know what you think in the comments. And like always, I'm trying to reach 230 subscribers. I'll see you in the next video. Adios, stay blessed, c'est la vie, boom.